Let's talk about some of the nuts and bolts around getting our horses to circle us on the ground, whether we're at Liberty or online. The goal for circles on the ground is to train and check on responsiveness, connection, and relaxation. And each one of those ingredients is achieved through certain activities. Connection and relaxation can be achieved through sideways. So what I'm starting this video with is asking Vanna to go sideways with my stick, okay? So when my stick goes out to the side, that means go sideways. When I put my stick close to me, that means we're done going sideways. So I'll check it on both sides. Can I get my horse to go sideways with just putting my stick out to the side? You see it here, I can change it up. When I went to the other direction, she went sideways in a circle around me. Now I'm going sideways, in a straight line in front of me. She was fussing here about a horsefly, and I have empathy and sympathy for that event, but it doesn't mean that she's allowed to ignore me. So my use of pressure here is to remind her, like, I understand you're having a problem and I want to help you with that, but in order for me to help you with that, you have to maintain responsiveness. Now, luckily for me, the horsefly went away, but had it not, in this moment while we're taking a break and thinking about the use of pressure there, I would have done something about the horsefly. Now, the next thing I'm checking for is connection. Every time I walk backwards, I want my horse's nose coming to me. I walked backwards there, and she didn't come to me. So I'm going to keep playing with this activity here until I get a stronger response of bring your nose to me. When my stick comes out to the side, I'm asking her to go sideways, right? In hopes that if in the effort of going sideways, that the nose might come to me a little bit more. And then what I do is I start making smaller circles when I arc back so that she has to work a little harder to do what I'm asking her to, and that gets her nose to come to me. She also wants me to scratch her belly there, and sometimes I will, but sometimes, it's not the right time. So in this moment, I want her not thinking about getting a belly scratch and just thinking about what we're doing there. I walked back and the nose comes to me, and now we're going to go the other way a little bit. Can I suck back and get the nose to come to me? That's for connection. Good. Then when I feel like the nose is really strongly thinking about coming to me, then I mark it with rest, right? Take a little break, hang out with her for a moment, and then also, it feels like she's getting a little tense because it's not our normal routine. So I just want to give her a chance to reset and make sure that I don't accidentally pop her, into defense mode. I don't want her feeling defensive about anything that I'm asking her to do. So the best way I can do that is to take breaks for relaxation. Taking breaks is a great way to ensure that you're getting relaxation. Good. So the things that I did to get connection, the sucking back and getting the nose to come to me is working. I can, put my stick out to the side and get sideways. So I'm getting connection and relaxation happening via sideways and sucking back. Drawing her versus driving her. Good. That's even better now. I want, anytime I walk backwards, I want her tracking me with her nose. And so that's just a little test on whether or not what I'm doing is working. But I also want to be able to drive her. I want to keep drive and draw balance. So I drive her away from me a little bit. And then send her on the circle in a really, common traditional way. But you can see how she thought about getting disconnected there. So I walk in a pathway that goes behind the tail in an effort to pique her curiosity about what I'm doing, and that causes her to turn and look at me, and then I'm going to suck back to bring her all the way in and let her get her breath with me. That game is called the Connection Game. You can find it in Module 1 of Linda's program, How to Talk Horse. So there, I send her on the circle, but I don't want her to disconnect. So I walk to the tail. As soon as she starts thinking back to me, I turn and back up, right? Because backing up means bring your nose to me and give her a bit of a rest near me. Also, the more I can have her take breaks and keep her nose close to me when she catches her breath, then I get the credit for air. So then I become the source of comfort, okay? Now I'm gonna send her on a circle a little bit differently. I'm gonna ask her to go sideways a little bit, and instead of driving her out onto the circle, I draw her out onto the circle. You see there how I walk backwards a little bit and sent her while encouraging the nose to keep coming to me. I do a downward transition by putting the stick out in front, and I like to do it until they at least take one step back instead of just to the halt. And then lead them forward to go up a gate, right? Again, I'm going to send her on the circle in a drawing sort of a way instead of a driving sort of a way. Her head is super low. I still pass the rope behind my back when I feel like my horse is connected, relaxed, and responsive. But if any of those pieces are missing, then I don't pass the rope behind my back. I keep turning with her so that I can help her anytime one of those pieces is missing. Her head is super low, but what you can't hear is that she's also trying to blow out. So if their head gets really low and it looks like they're sort of sluggish in the trot like she is, but she's also trying to blow out, so I'm going to leave it alone for now. But if I wanted her head to come up, I would just urge her to be a little bit more forward. A drawing send, and then now I'm going to shape her in the allow, right? I might not be passing the rope behind my back, but I'm not micromanaging her gait, right? She's managing the trot there herself, so now I pass the rope behind my back because I want to leave her to explore her body. She's trying to open up her ribs and take in deep breaths, and that sort of makes her cough and sputter a little bit. And then change of direction is a pattern. I do it at 10 and 2 every time. So then she knows that if I suck straight back and she's at either 10 or 2, depending on which way she's going, she knows that I'm going to ask her to change direction. And see how I come back to her to swing the shoulders away a little bit so she doesn't end up just getting closer and closer to me. When I'm using circles, I'm exploring all gaits, walk, trot, and canter. So there I asked for a downward transition, and she thought I meant back up. I gave her plenty of strides, or she thought I meant go sideways. So I gave her plenty of strides to think about that, and then followed it up with enough pressure to influence her mentally, right? Not just to get her to make the transition. I could have used a lot less pressure. The use of pressure here isn't to get her to make the transition, it's to get her responsive to my stick. So now I'm going to ask her to do it again, canter, and can you do the downward transition? And see, now we got a better result because I used pressure in a way that affected her mentally. Eventually, I do want her to just stay on the circle, but because I had to use pressure so hard the time before that, I want to give her a little bit of a break, and I felt like that the video was long enough, and I have all the pieces I need to feel good about riding. And then the remote didn't want to work. Okay, so connection, relaxation, and responsiveness. Those are the goals for asking my horse to do circles on the ground. Okay, I can send my horse on a circle by driving, or I can send him by drawing. I want to be able to do both. Sideways helps my horse to be able to relax, right? It helps to drive the inside hind up under the belly, which causes them to lift their back. When their back comes up, their neck goes down. They get a long, stretchy posture and helps them to relax, okay? Use pressure to affect them mentally, not just to get their body to do something. Lightness is required for anything to feel good to them. It has to be light, all right? I hope you found that helpful.